Good afternoon, Penny. It's lovely to see you again. How have things been since our last session?
Yeah, hey, it's been a really meaningful couple of weeks actually. And I did bring my Tree of Life notes and I've been adding to them like you suggested, and I'd really like to show you.
Yeah,
If that's okay?
definitely. I'd love to see what you've added. Yeah.
Yeah, so under the roots, I added a few new reflections. So I wrote down patience and gentleness.
Okay.
Because I realised those were always present in my family. Even when things were difficult, there was always still warmth and humour. Mum could always make us laugh, even when she was exhausted. And I also added curiosity.
Yep. Okay.
As a root, because lately I've been questioning things rather than judging myself. And curiosity feels like it's replacing the old harshness. It's just such a different energy.
Yeah,
So that's what I've added to the roots.
Yeah, that's great.
And then the trunk, I added self-compassion. And flexibility.
Yep.
I noticed that when plans change now, I don't always panic.
Okay.
I just tend to adapt to the change a bit better.
Well, that's good.
And that's something I never used to do. Everything used to feel so urgent and fixed all the time. So I added that to my trunk. And then on the branches, I added a new goal.
Okay. Yep.
So I added finding joy in small moments.
Yep. Okay.
I realised joy doesn't have to come from big achievements. It can come from ordinary things like dancing in the kitchen, reading outside in the sun. And I also wrote enjoy creativity without expectations, as a reminder that painting or writing doesn't have to lead anywhere, and it can just exist for its own sake. So I put that in the branches.
Yeah, that's lovely.
And then for the leaves, I added a couple of new people. So my colleague Mia, who's been encouraging me to actually take lunch breaks instead of eating at my desk. And she's been really great. And then I added my neighbour Louise, who's been inviting me on morning walks.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
And sometimes we've been going on walks after work, which has been nice.
Great way to de-stress from work.
Yeah, it's been lovely. And having those gentle, balanced people around me has just made such a difference. So I added them to my leaves.
Lovely.
And then I also, under the fruits, I added peace and resilience and self-worth. I don't think I ever really understood what self-worth meant before, but I used to think it came to ticking boxes, and now I see it's something more internal. It's about knowing I'm enough even when I'm not doing anything really special. So
wow. Yeah, you've added so much since our last session.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You added a bit to every part of the tree. I think that it's a great reflection, and you know, you've clearly spent a lot of time thinking about how each part connects to your life right now, and it really does show the growth you've made since we first started, and you know, it is lovely that you've got Mia and Louise added to that connection there of people to help you. It's lovely.
Yeah, I think that's what actually surprised me the most. These notes kept changing as I keep changing. And sometimes when I read back over them, I can see how much calmer my words are becoming on it. I used to write in lists of things to fix. Now I write reminders of things to appreciate. It's definitely a whole tone of my story is shifting. I feel like there's a big shift happening.
That's really powerful, Penny. It's amazing to see how your language and your reflections show the healing that's taking place here. Before we do begin, I do just want to let you know that our session today, it is our final one together. So we'll use this time to look at what's changed, what you've learnt, where you'd like to go to from here. How does that sound?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it feels good. It's feeling like this. I had a feeling this might be the last one. I feel ready, but I also feel a bit emotional about it. I feel these sessions have been such a safe space for me, and I think it's strange to think of not coming here every couple of weeks. Yeah.
That's a completely natural feeling to have, Penny. Ending anything can bring up lots of mixed emotions. And before we do start to look ahead, I would love to reflect with you today. And when you think back to our very first session, what stands out most to you about where you were then and where you are now?
Yeah, wow. I was in such a different headspace back then. I remember walking in feeling really exhausted, and really wound up and tight, like I was constantly failing. I felt like a lot of pressure from work, family, and even just relaxing. I was measuring myself by how productive I could be, and I didn't even realise how hard I was on myself because it just felt normal. I remember thinking that if I could just get things right, I'd finally feel calm, but I feel like that calm just never came. Now it's like I've stepped outside of that story. I still have busy days and stress, of course, but it doesn't define me anymore. I can see that I'm more than that voice, and I can take a deep breath and say, you're doing enough, you can rest. And that's something I never used to say to myself before.
It's such a powerful change, Penny, from living under that perfection story to creating a space of self-acceptance.
Yeah, it really is. I didn't realise how much my worth was tied to productivity. When I started noticing the perfection voice, I could finally see it wasn't me, it was something that I had learnt. Once I saw that, I could challenge it. I think the biggest turning point was really realising that I don't have to earn rest. That, I remember one Saturday morning actually when Ben suggested we have coffee outside instead of cleaning the house. And the old me would have said, no, we need to finish the house, let's finish the laundry. But instead I said yes, and we sat outside for an hour doing nothing.
Wow.
And it was perfect. I just kept thinking, this is really the life I meant to have. It was so enjoyable.
Yeah, wow, it's definitely something that I wouldn't expect, you to say from our first session. I think that's amazing, that you're rediscovering how to be present. What do you think has been the most significant emotional change for you throughout this process?
I think I have developed compassion, not just for other people, but for myself particularly. I've always been empathetic, but never directed that inward. Now when I feel anxious or tired, I don't automatically tell myself to toughen up. I ask, what do I need right now? Sometimes the answer is a walk, sometimes it's rest, sometimes it might be calling my friend. And I feel like I finally have permission to take care for myself. And that shift has changed everything. Even how I show up for others. I feel I'm calmer with Ben. I listen better at work. And I feel that I don't spiral when something small goes wrong.
Yeah, wow. It's such growth. Penny, you've clearly developed an awareness and an emotional regulation skills, and I think that'll stay with you forever.
Yeah, And I realised I can't control everything.
Mm.
And I don't need to. That's been really big for me. My anxiety used to come from feeling like everything rested on my shoulders all the time. But now I can take a step back, and if a project at work isn't perfect or dinner burns, it's fine. Life just keeps moving.
Wow. It's just so lovely to hear you saying these things, Penny. You know, the growth, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just want you to give yourself, you know, that recognition of how far you have come. And I just want to touch earlier on, you did trace a lot of, you know, the perfectionism, the perfection voice, as you did call it, traced it back to your childhood. So to trying to keep things together after your parents' divorce, how does that understanding sit with you now?
I feel it makes so much more sense now. I think I carried that responsibility into adulthood without realising it. When I was little, I felt like the only way to keep the peace was to do everything right, get good grades, help my siblings, make things smooth and easy for my mum. That pattern really became my default, my go-to. Now I can see that it was a huge coping mechanism. It came from love, not from weakness. And I can appreciate that little girl now instead of resenting her. I used to think that she made me anxious, but she was just trying to keep everyone safe. And understanding that has really softened something inside me. And it's like I forgive myself in a sense for being that way.
That's a incredibly insightful and compassionate for you to reflect on that. You are acknowledging your history while freeing yourself from it. That's what, you know, healing it looks like. As we do start to bring this process to a close, how does it feel to know that our sessions are ending today?
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, I feel it's a little bit bittersweet. I feel really proud of the work I've done, but there's a small part of me that worries that I might slip back into old habits without the accountability of talking things through with you. But then another part of me knows I have the tools now. I know how to notice the voice, how to pause, how to reflect. I feel like I can carry that forward. And honestly, I think that's the point, right? Counselling isn't about depending on someone. It's about learning to stand on my own again. And I really feel that I'm ready for that, even if I'll really miss having this space.
It's so beautifully, you know, said, Penny. And I think exactly what you said, counselling, it's all about developing self-understanding so you can continue your growth and independency. You know, and I think, yeah, you've really reached that point, and, you know, I'm glad that, you know, we've been able to have the connection that we have had. When you do think about your ongoing journey, what do you want to keep focusing on in, you know, the months ahead?
I think I would want to keep practicing self-compassion and boundaries. I'm still learning to say no without guilt, especially at work. I'm also going to start painting again. I've already bought a few supplies.
Lovely.
And I've realised I stopped doing creative things because I was afraid of not doing them good enough or being good enough. But now I just want to enjoy it. No rules, no outcome, just expression. I also want to keep spending mindful time with Ben, cooking together, walking, and doing a whole heap of nothing. Those are the moments that make me really feel alive. I'm thinking of maybe joining a local art group. That could help me connect with other people, other like-minded people without pressure. Just a community and creativity.
Yeah, wow. That sounds wonderful. And those things are very healthy ways to nurture your well-being. So that's great to hear.
Yeah, I've realised I don't need to fix myself. I just need to support myself. And I think that has probably been my biggest lesson.
Such powerful takeaway, Penny. I think you've really learnt to recognise your patterns early and to take responsibility for your own well-being. And if things ever started to feel heavy again for you, what would you think would help you to reach out or seek support before it became overwhelming?
I think the first thing would be checking in with myself before I spiral. Actually naming what's going on rather than pretending everything's fine. I've noticed when I ignore things, they grow quickly in the background until I'm tense all the time. Journaling helps me with that. Even writing a few lines can show me it's okay, and this anxiety or this pressure, instead of just swallowing it up or being swallowed up by it, essentially. If I notice these signs again, I think I'd reach out, maybe book a few sessions with a counsellor or talk to my GP even for a referral. I wouldn't let it get as bad as before. I've learned that opening up to people I trust, like Ben or my sister, has really helped. I used to feel like sharing my worries was a burden to people, but now I see it as part of staying connected, which is great.
Penny, that is such a I feel your self-awareness it's really matured, and it's clear that you've built insight into how you do function under stress. What do you think has made it easier for you to reach out for help now compared to before?
I think, honestly, I've stopped seeing it as weakness. I used to think I had to manage everything on my own to be strong, but now I understand that strength also means asking for help when I need it. It's about balance, not isolation. I've realised that talking things through earlier can stop problems from becoming so big.
That's a really, really healthy perspective to have. You're describing independence that's grounded in connection, not avoiding. That's great. I think you've found ways to look after yourself and to know that when it's time to seek support. And I think that's a great thing that we've seen progress through our sessions.
Yeah, I guess I have built a bit of a system now almost. I've been going for a walk in the mornings, and they help me clear my head before the day even starts. And I've started keeping a small list on my phone of things that help me when I feel anxious, like stepping outside, deep breathing, having a tea, even just listening to some music or a podcast, instead of overthinking. And I know they sound small, but they've actually really worked.
I don't think they sound small at all. Those sound like wonderful grounding tools, and it sounds like you've created a personalised self-care plan that really reflects who you are. It's calm, reflective, and kind to yourself.
Yeah, thanks. It feels good to finally have strategies that come from self-understanding, not guilt or obligations. I used to push myself to do self-care perfectly, which sort of defeated the point. But now it feels really natural, like a way of checking in with myself instead of fixing myself.
I just want to recognise that is such an important shift in mindset. you've really internalized the work that we have done together, and I feel like you're trusting yourself now, and that self-trust is something you can rely on long term, even without counselling. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest changeable. Really, I trust myself to handle life even when it gets messy. Yeah.
So let's just take a moment to look at everything that you have achieved throughout this process.
Yeah.
When you did first come in, you were feeling anxious, carrying a lot of weight on your shoulders, and driven by, let's say, impossible standards of what it meant to be good enough. And over time, you feel like, you know, you've reconnected with that authentic self. You've rediscovered your creativity, and to be more calm and gentle with yourself in how you live. I've seen you work incredibly hard to, you know, rewrite that perfection voice and its story into one that honours who you really are. If you were to, say, give this chapter of your life a name, something that sums up the journey so far, what would it be?
Yeah, I think that's a big question. Becoming me again still fits, but I think it's evolved a little more than that. Maybe finding my stillness. That feels probably a little bit more right, because this time it's not just about remembering who I am, but learning how to stay with myself even when things get noisy or uncertain. It's like I found quiet inside the chaos. I can return to it whenever I need to. So yeah, I feel like maybe finding my stillness.
I think that's beautiful, Penny. Finding my stillness. I think it does capture, you know, perfectly how far, you know, you have come. And I also feel like it does represent an awareness within yourself. And what does that stillness mean to you now compared to, say, when you first started our sessions together?
Yeah, I think it means peace, but not the kind that depends on everything being perfect or in control. It's peace that exists even when life's messy, when dishes are in the sink, or when work feels overwhelming. I've learned that I can still breathe, laugh, and feel grounded even when things aren't exactly how I pictured them. It's a kind of freedom I don't think was possible for me before. Before, I thought peace meant having everything sorted, no mistakes, no loose ends. Now it feels more like acceptance. I can be in the middle of a storm and still know who I am. That's such a new feeling for me, and I think it's because I'm not constantly fighting with myself anymore.
That's such a profound change from striving for that control to then embracing acceptance. It sounds like you've learned to let peace live alongside imperfection rather than waiting for things to be flawless all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I used to chase peace like it was a reward for doing everything right. Now I realise it's something I can choose in the moment, just by pausing, breathing, stepping back from that inner critic. Even my relationships, I feel different because of it. I'm more patient, less reactive, I would say too. I don't expect people or myself to be perfect.
I think that awareness is such a gift, and you know, Penny, it's really showing that your growth hasn't just been about, you know, reducing that anxiety that you first came here with. It's about how transforming, how you have been able to transform how you relate to yourself and to other people. What do you feel like has been your biggest realization through all of this?
Yeah. I think the biggest one is that I was never broken. I was just tired from trying to hold everything together. I used to think I needed to fix everything, but really, I just needed to listen to myself. I learned that rest isn't failure and asking for help isn't weakness. And that slowing down can actually make life really richer. And I've learned that who I am is enough.
Wow. Penny, I just want to take a moment just to sit with that for a moment and just recognise that that's such a powerful statement. You've not only reauthored your story, you've learnt to live differently. The calm and the groundedness you're describing, the things that you've built through this awareness, honesty and courage. You did this work from within, like, well done.
Yeah, it feels lasting this time too. Like, it doesn't feel so temporary, almost like a fix. It's like something that's a part of me now. I think that's because it's not about rules or forcing change. It's about understanding myself better.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's sustainable because it's authentic to you.
Yeah.
The progress that you've made doesn't depend on how someone else sees it. It's something that you carry with you. And finding my stillness, it's a perfect title for you and this stage of your journey.
Yeah, thank you. I honestly didn't think I'd get here. It's strange. I came into counselling thinking I just needed to manage my anxiety better, but I really found what was completely my new way of being, and I'm really grateful for that.
I think that's lovely to hear, Penny. And every bit, of this progression, it's come from your courage to look inward and to face, the uncomfortable parts, but face them with compassion. And I think it's been a real privilege watching that transformation unfold together. You've shown courage, honesty, self-awareness in every session. And as we do close today, I do want to acknowledge your openness and the trust that you've shown within me, to me. It's been wonderful to be a part of your journey.
Yeah, thank you. And I really mean that. I came here not knowing what I needed, just knowing I felt really stuck. And you've helped me see things I couldn't see on my own, but more than that, you've helped me believe I can handle life without being perfect. And that's something I'll always take with me. Thank you.
It's always so lovely to hear that as a counsellor. I do just want to, raise that, you've earned every bit of that insight through your own hard work and reflection. Thank you for letting me share this space with you. And as we finish up, take a moment to breathe and acknowledge, how far you really have come.
Thank you. Feels complete.
I'm so glad. Please take care of yourself, Penny. And keep striving for that stillness.
Yeah, I will. Thank you so much, Kel.
Bye, Penny.